Well, good morning and welcome to this Bermuda Sports Talk. I'm joined by Madelyn Moore, potential Olympic swimmer for Bermuda. I'm your host, Earl Basden. But first of all, thank you very much, Maddie, for taking this opportunity to chat with us about how school, swimming, COVID, how it has all affected you. Let's first start with obviously the obvious, COVID. How has that affected you personally throughout this last year?
It's definitely been, a change for everyone. But I think in sport, it's been a lot harder, especially so I'm still training at the University of Northern Colorado. And at the beginning of the year, it was really tough, especially for my coach. I really sympathize with her because she had to be on pool deck for like 8 hours a day because everyone had to social distance, everyone had their own lane, and it was a bit of a mess. But I'm just so thankful that we actually we got to start swimming because a lot of programs haven't had that. But it's it's we're making the best out of it, and that's all that matters.
I know you would have been jumping for joy the fact that you actually got in a competition before the school break, but working towards that, for any athlete, just training and not knowing when or if a competition would actually take place, how difficult is it for you guys to kind of keep each other motivated in what you're doing? You're preparing for the inevitable, hopefully, racing.
Yeah, it's been a tough year because usually we do a lot of team bonding activities, and everyone, especially the freshmen, like we had a really big freshman class this year, so usually we do a lot of like activities to everyone get to know each other, but we haven't been able to do that this year just because everything's so strict. We all have to keep to our own like bubbles, but when we're in training and we're in the pool, we're all like during hard sets, and luckily now, before I came back home, we were all able to train with one another, which was really cool, just to see the dynamic with like the new freshmen and the rest of the team. But not knowing, because I think by this point we would have had at least like 4 or 5 dual meets under our belt, but we've had 2, which is amazing. I'm so grateful that we've gotten to do that, but it's just the not knowing of what competitions are next or if they're gonna get canceled, because usually we have our mid-season invitational in November. And we were all doing really good up until that point. We were really excited to go, and then someone on our team tested positive, and then everything just shut down straight away. Everyone back to their own little bubbles, testing, like rigorous testing. So it's a little, everything's up in the air, but we're just really trying to encourage each other during practice and just keep our chins up.
Now, on top of that, you still have schoolwork to do. So outside of training, you're still working on your education. How are you working? How are you managing that time out of the pool with the education part?
So most of all but one of my classes have been online this semester, and now I'm getting into like the upper level classes, which are a bit harder and a little more intense with like research and stuff. So it's definitely been harder trying to do that online, especially like if I don't understand something and I need like office hours, then it's just easier to talk to someone in person rather than doing it online. But again, there's one more obstacle that we have to overcome. But it was a little bit rough at the start, but I finished my semester with 5 A's and a B. So.
Oh. Good stuff. But it's only the start.
I
Now,
know.
obviously, you have ambitions of making it to an Olympic games, and we all know that the 2021s have been pushed back a year. So, with COVID, how has that affected your training ability to possibly try to qualify this time around?
Um, it's I mean, it's honestly just trying to do the best we can. It's because I know if I was a pro athlete, you know, all of them they're in their own like bubbles and it's very just like hardcore. But being like a collegiate athlete, it's a bit harder just because like if like the athletic department shuts down, then we're kind of like done, and we just have to scramble to find something and somewhere for us to swim, which is kind of like unnerving a little bit. But I mean, I always have like option to come back here, which is like great to know. But it's just trying to have that consistent like training with like the my coach Lisa Ebeling. It's but yeah, no, it's definitely tough um having the like long course training as well, which is really hard because in the swimming collegiate year it's all short course yards. But again, I can always come back here if times get really hard in Colorado.
Well, one thing, I mean, a lot of people hear and see Colorado as this snowy mountain type of place, but a lot of athletes use it to improve their breathing ability and just their ability to do better in sports. Do you find that weather challenging at times?
I'll say the altitude definitely gets you in the first week. You feel it a lot, but I mean, actually, recently, the last 2 weeks I was there. Colorado is usually pretty good just because it's always really sunny. So if it does snow, the snow will melt pretty quickly. But it's been like sub-zero for quite a long time now, and the snow hasn't melted, and it's been really windy. So that hasn't been like the greatest, but at the same time I love having seasons. That's like one of the reasons I chose Colorado, because I love having like different kind of seasons. So you know, I just got to take it with a pinch of salt. Grin and bear it.
When you're working out, obviously swimming is a individual sport, then you have a team around you and so forth. But when you're working out by yourself, is it like a lonely type surrounding for you, or do you like to be around team members to rub off and try to pair up with?
Yeah, no, I love when I was getting recruited and I was like on Skype interviews with all the different coaches. One of the main things that I was looking for was like an encouraging team environment where everyone's like pushing each other to get better, because that's one of the things I thrive on. I love, you know, everyone shout like during a hard set, everyone's shouting at each other saying, you know, you got this, like, you know, race me. And because that's one of the things I struggle with was you know, if it's a long sprint set or a long threshold set or something, just being able to, you know, go until the very end, because I'm very much a sprint based person. So just having that little extra encouragement from my teammates is like what makes all the difference. But you know, right now I thought, you know, a few weeks ago I'd be home free, you know, I'd come back, do a few days of testing, and I'd be able to get back in the water like right away. But that's changed a bit.
I can tell by the bracelet.
Yep. So right now I'm, you know, back to how I was training during quarantine and running, and which is just very foreign to me, and it's very different on my body. But you know, you just have to do what you got to do.
Yeah, yeah. When you're looking at the fact that you've had two meets, how do you feel you've come from the last time you actually swam in a meet, which would have been early part of the first quarter of this year, as opposed to now the last quarter? How do you feel you done?
I was actually really happy with. So in my first meet, I in my 100 free that I did, that I led the relay off with, the 4x 100 free, I hit a time 51, I think it was 7,
Yeah.
and I was hitting those times like the end of last year, like in dual meets. So for having pretty inconsistent like training, kind of like ups and downs, I was really happy with that. And in I won the 100 butterfly, which I'm kind of just thrown into events that, you know, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. And I won that, and that was with a time that probably one of the fastest that I've done in a dual beat in my 3 years at Colorado. So no, I was definitely I've been happy with those times.
Yeah. Now you have a coach, like you said, that throws you into certain type of events, but it's concentrating on you, making sure that your particular events that you are what I say, expert in, you actually do well. And what did the coach say to you after those 2 meets that would give you encouragement to say that, okay, I'm on the right track?
Lisa, she bless her, she for those meets, because they were very those were very good teams that we were put against.
Yeah.
So she put me in events that because we had a couple of athletes who were in quarantine at the time. So they were taken out of those events, and she was just filling in gaps and stuff. So I was put in those. But you know, we both know that sprint training right now, we just have to have a solid base of aerobic work, and it's not all about sprinting right now. That comes a little later in the season. So hitting those times that I've done so far, we're both really happy with.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you have these teammates, and anyone else knocking on the door of possibly meeting Olympic qualifications?
So we have a freshman, Amina. She was, which I didn't realize. So we both, when I first met her, we were at the 2017 junior world juniors, and we were both the flag bearers there, and we actually got a selfie together like 3 years ago. And then she was like, I knew I recognized you from somewhere. So she swims for Belize, and I think she's a breaststroker, and I think she is probably one of their top swimmers, and hopefully she'll be making it as well, which will be really cool.
Now, the fact that you have someone who else is knocking on the door, does that drive you just that little more? Because you want to make sure that if one of the two's got to make it, it's going to be you.
Oh, I definitely have a very competitive streak in me.
I know that.
So yes, I definitely want to make sure that I am that person that makes it.
Going into a year of knowing that they're claiming that the Olympics will come off, how far are you off the 50 free right now?
So right now I currently have a 25.9, and I need a 25.51, which in the 50 free is, I mean, it's not a small task
Right.
at all. But I think the training that I've been doing, especially like during quarantine, and just getting like a ton of different muscle groups and different training, I think will all help me towards my goal, which I think some people would think that, oh, like that you haven't really been swimming as much as you need to. But for a sprinter, I mean, a sprinter doesn't need to be in the water as much. So if you're staying active and doing, you know, everything that you need to be doing, and you're talking to your coaches, and you all have like a solid game plan, I think it's going to happen. It's just finding the meat to make it happen, because they are so scarce right now.
Yes, yes. That's the risk and the danger that you can possibly overdo it trying to do it in whatever short space of time, because the minute a meet comes up, you almost want to, let me do this one in the event that it's cut off and at least I have a time registered and all that. Now, talking with, obviously, your coach in Colorado, talking with Ben in Bermuda, talking with the Swimming Association, obviously, you have to have a plan of what meets you want to do, how you want to accomplish the goal, the feat of trying to qualify. I know, and I want to go back to this before we go forward, a lot of people will look at, well, you're at 25.9, 25.51. In some people's mind, that's straightforward, that you could do that. The technical part of it is, it's about a half a mile down the road, if in swimming terms, isn't it?
Yeah, no, again, it's not a small task to do. Like, so, like, it's like that is the difference between hitting the time and not, especially like in a sprint race where there is no margin for error. So, I mean, that's the thing that I love about training yards, is that it's all the little details. So we like work really heavily on starts, which is a massive part of the 50 freestyle. And then one thing that I just massively have to work on is my turnover, my like arm speed at the end of the race, that we're working on, and just having those sets that, again, we're just trying to push each other to the very end and not like letting up at all, and which I've definitely improved on massively since coming to Colorado and having that team environment, which is awesome.
Yeah, you were a big of mixed emotions in Lima a year ago. Obviously, you're up against the best in the region. At times, you looked like you were very comfortable in being in that atmosphere. Does wanting to get back to that type of environment, does that push you along the way as well?
I miss going to meets so much. It's crazy. Like, I look back on, photos and videos of being at those competitions, and I, like, at the time, like, I have my doubts about, like, I see these amazing athletes, and I'm like, oh my God, like, am I supposed to, like, I'm not supposed to be here, me? Like, no. But now, like, I understand that is where I want to be. I really want to be back there. So I'm very, very excited. So hopefully I will be doing long course meet soon.
When you look at some of the idols that have in your sport, and obviously you would have somebody that you say, I'm inspired by that person, to be like that person. Who would that person be?
Honestly, Roy Allen. He, what he went through with, what happened to his knees and his training and everything, he is someone that, if I could be like anyone, it would be like him.
Yeah, he persevered through many challenges, and came out, on the other side, and he's an inspiration to many people, not just people in the pool, but people in life, because of what he went through, and
Exactly.
having the opportunity to make it back. That's the one thing that I think, stays in my mind, that he was so determined, whether he made it or not, he was determined to give it a go. And
Exactly.
just that whole time of working hard, blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm pretty sure there were more tears than anything else.
Even having his doctor say that, walking is going to be hard for him again, and him re-qualifying for the Olympic Games after all of that is just amazing. And I can't applaud him enough.
Now, obviously, you wanna spend time in the pool in Bermuda. You gotta wait till that yellow.
I know, which isn't gonna happen. I'm only here for 10 days, and then I'm back to training.
Right.
Yeah.
But getting back in the pool in Colorado, because you guys have a meet. Is it the second weekend of January, right?
I think so. We were meant to have a meet on the 2nd against DU, but that has been moved to the end of January. But
Right.
we do have one on the 7th of
Right,
January.
right.
Yeah.
Second weekend in January, and obviously, I mean, I've seen some schools get very creative where they will have, I guess, a Zoom meet of sorts. So
Yeah.
I think that's where it's going to be really creative, where you're in your pool and they're in their pool, and it's a go, and the times are matched up on a board, and away you go. But the opportunity just to compete with some against the unknown, and when I say the unknown, someone different, is that another thing that you guys are looking forward to come the first part of 2021?
Yeah, I think we're all just ready to get back to some kind of normalcy, which is racing for us. We our athletic department has been like gracious enough to like actually let us like host meets, but there are just such strict protocols. Like we have to wear a mask right up until the blocks, and then we take it off, and then we get right on the blocks, and we can't like cross onto the other side of the pool where the competition's sitting. And but you know, for the 2 meets that we've had, we've done really well at, you know, keeping our distance from one another, and so that's good. But I'm just very ready to not have to do that anymore.
What is the latest talk with the NCAA championships? Because, you know, at the end of the year, everybody wants to be the best in their divisions as far as, you know, the NCAA. Have they talked about that as of yet?
Well, so this year is actually a 0 year. So eligibility no one like loses a year of eligibility, which is amazing because I was planning on redshirting this year anyway. But as of right now, teams have to have competed in at least 3 dual meets, like that aren't over Zoom, or that like they're in person and we're actually racing the other team, to then be able to go to our conference championships. And then I don't know how far they've planned in advance, but right now conference is happening, and then I'm not sure what's happening with the NCAA's or the nationals meet, honestly, because I don't think they're planning that far in advance.
Get you through these Doom meets and so
At this
forth.
point, that's all we're trying to do.
So right now you're concentrating on just dual meets, because there have been times in the past where you guys would have a tri meet where you have 2 other schools come in and compete against. But right now it's just due to the limitations of the arena that you guys swim in.
So I know. So our last meet was against for the life of me, I can't remember.
Right.
Wyoming.
Yes.
So the day before, they actually had a tri meet against Air Force and CSU. But that was at Air Force's pool, and Air Force has like an amazing facilities. It's massive, so they can they have the ability to space 3 teams out.
Right.
But our pool is a lot smaller. So yeah, we can only host dual meets. But I think the meet on the 7th is against Air Force. But I think that's only going to be a tri meet, a dual meet, not a tri meet. Yeah.
Right. Are you guys traveling to them, or are they coming to you?
I think we're traveling to them just because their pool is amazing.
Well,
so it'd be nice to, you know, have an away meet, even
sure.
if it's only a couple
Well,
hours.
let's hope when you do hit that pool, you're meeting all the times that you want to meet, and you're having as much fun as you could possibly have, because that's the most important thing, is enjoying your time. It's nothing like a college experience, whether it be as an athlete or student athlete. So, you know, I want to wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Please tell your folks Merry Christmas. You enjoy the time at home, but hurry up back to Colorado. We need you to be hitting those times. So we have another person planning to go to Tokyo in July. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All righty. Well, folks, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, and do enjoy the rest of your day.